Singer-songwriter and entertainer Michael Jackson had an unchallenged run as the most successful recording artist of the 20th century. Jackson, however, harbored ambitions beyond creating music, and throughout his career, the musician made several attempts to become a movie star. Owing to his distinctive appearance and persona, disappearing into a role was an uphill battle, though he continued to pursue it, even taking acting lessons from longtime friend Marlon Brando. His first taste of the silver screen came in the form of the film adaptation for The Wiz in 1978, where Jackson played a leading role as the Scarecrow. He was flooded with positive reviews for his performance, unlike the rest of the cast who were universally panned, and the film was considered to be a critical and commercial failure at the time. And the extensive solo tour that ensued upon its release, Michael Jackson was riding high and looking for new creative challenges after conquering the music industry. The singer surprisingly tried his very best to get a lead role in. Edward Scissorhands, 1990. A wild-haired, black-clad, misunderstood artist adrift in suburbia, Michael Jackson caught wind of the character and expressed a keen interest in the role, lobbying himself to Burton over an extended period of time. But unfortunately, Burton never responded to Jackson's attempt, and Johnny Depp was ultimately cast in the role. Although there are many parallels between the character of Edward and the sensitive misfit, and Jackson's own public persona, even the way the character was dressed bared uncanny resemblance to Jackson's own stage attire during this period. Project was part of a record contract Jackson had signed with Sony in the early 90s, which also included film projects like Jack and the Beanstalk. But owing to negative publicity surrounding Jackson in the years to come, none of the proposed ideas ever got off the ground. He placed his head on the table and began to cry uncontrollably. Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace, 1999. Particular beating over computer-generated comic relief Jar Jar Binks. Jackson had petitioned director George Lucas for the role. Lucas said, "Well, Michael wanted to do the part, but he wanted to do it in prosthetics and makeup like Thriller." Best said, George wanted to do it in CGI. Spider-Man 2002. A little-known fact is that for years, Jackson had attempted to acquire Marvel Comics. In 1999, Jackson met with writer Stan Lee to discuss the possibility of an acquisition, and to get Lee's thoughts on the potential for Jackson starring as Spider-Man in a feature film. According to Lee, Jackson felt buying the company would be the only way he'd get the part. Jackson was unable to gather the financing needed to buy Marvel, and Sony produced the Spider-Man feature in 2002 with Tobey Maguire. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005. When Jackson learned Warner Brothers had with Gene Wilder in 1971, the singer became so preoccupied that he recorded a soundtrack to surprise studio executives. Although they loved the music, no one was behind the idea of casting him as Wonka. An offended Jackson dropped out of participating entirely. The role eventually went to Johnny Depp. Can you see a pattern here? Who later denied he based his portrayal of the character on Michael Jackson.